Welcome everyone. I am Andrew Wright. Over here is Cody Johnson, and we are Drew Code Sports Talk. We are not talking about soccer, but I wanted to support USA in the Gold Cup, so that is why I am wearing this. He didn't even know that till right now, so a surprise to everyone. Cody, how are you?
I am feeling good actually today.
Good.
We're in an air conditioning building. It's nice.
Which is really that's 2 weeks that we've done that now.
Yeah.
In an air
it makes a world of difference, people.
Yeah. You don't see us sweating. We don't have towels on the side that you guys can't see. Yeah.
Our little pimp hand towel.
Yeah, our wives wouldn't do it for some reason. I don't know what that's about.
We offered them a good salary too, and they said no.
Anyway, enough of all that. We appreciate you guys joining us. Cody, we missed a lot, but we were really going to be focusing on certain things here. Mm-hmm. We did miss the NBA Finals of the Golden State Warriors. They won, so congratulations to them.
I was shocked how quickly it ended, to be honest with you. But
you know what? I thought you called that they were going to win in 5.
Well, I said that they have a potential of winning in 5, but just to play it safe, I still thought they were going to win in 7.
He called 5. I'm going to give it to him. He called 5, so I called game. Anyway, and also we missed the NBA draft. Markelle Fultz was the number 1 pick. Obviously, our team, the Lakers, we saw that Lonzo Ball was picked and looked really good in Summer League.
We'll talk about that too.
Yeah. And we also missed the All-Star Game Home Run Derby, which were really exciting, which we will get into later as well. But right now, we want to talk about the NBA free agency.
Yes.
And Cody, I'm going to ask you first. Paul George was traded to Oklahoma City Thunder. Mm-hmm. First, how do you feel about it? And second, does he work with Oklahoma City, or does he even work with Russell Westbrook?
I think, so I'm very surprised that Oklahoma City made this deal, or at least the Pacers gave up so little for him, because really it was just for Victor Oladipo and 2 draft picks. So it wasn't like it was blown out of the water. I think Boston clearly offered way more value, but I think the Pacers just didn't want to send them to another Eastern Conference team to compete, even though Pacers are borderline rebuilding at this point. They just gave up their number 1 asset. I think with the OKC trade, though, I think they'll improve, obviously, because, Paul George is obviously a bigger upgrade from Victor Oladipo. But you still have Andre Robertson, that's a great defender, but doesn't really do a whole lot of offense. They didn't re-sign Taj Gibson, who was a good rebounder, but you still have Steven Adams. So you've still got an inside presence. It's just Westbrook, I think he's going to be obviously the focal point of the offense, and George will be a nice relief. I just don't see 82 games and even into the playoffs, because I think they'll improve their chances from they're the 7th seed, I think, this year. Or
I believe they were the 6th seed, yeah.
I think they'll be all the way to the 5th or the 4th, because I think the Clippers are going to fall out of the playoff picture. But nevertheless, I think Oklahoma City slightly improves, but I don't see this thing going very far than the semifinals if they're lucky. But, I mean, for the first probably half of the season before the All-Star break, it'll probably look good, but I don't see it sustaining throughout the entire season, just because Westbrook is so competitive. If he just gets that itch that George is doing better than him, then he might have to kick it in high gear to make it seem like he needs to overcompensate for something, which is kind of like why KD left, and he's even said numerous times that it's so easy to play basketball because, they make the right basketball play. They don't worry about themselves, so which is why they were so successful. So I think it'll work. It just is... I think they're renting Paul George for a 1-year deal, and he's going to be gone in the summer anyways, so...
You and I are in agreement in that he's going to be a rental. Yeah. I completely agree with that. It's a 1-year rental. But I kind of wanted to look at it from this aspect. I don't think it's going to work with the Thunder. I think that, for me, is what I believe in the most. I don't believe that Paul George and Oklahoma City work. Mm-hmm. Do I believe that Russell Westbrook and Paul George would work? There's that possibility. Absolutely, I'm not going to say that they won't.
Right.
But I look at it this way of, for example, when Kevin Durant was there, he was a very timid guy. He was a quiet guy, didn't really speak up much. If a reporter said something bad about Russell Westbrook, he felt the need to say, no, don't be saying that.
Right.
That's my guy. Which it makes sense.
Yeah.
You don't want people to think that you have a vendetta against your teammate.
Mm-hmm.
So I think he did the right things there.
Mm-hmm.
It took Kevin Durant leaving Golden State for everyone to go, are they not even friends?
Right.
It took them that long. It took 9 years for everyone to actually understand that, listen, Kevin Durant was the face of that franchise, but they were looking towards Russell Westbrook, and he said, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
We're not winning with him. You guys don't understand that, so I'm gone.
Right.
Paul George is the complete opposite.
Yes.
Paul George is a guy who is outspoken, and as well as we saw this playoffs, that when Miles Turner took the last shot,
right.
the immediate reaction from Paul George was, I should have taken that. That
right.
should have been mine, and he took it, and he shot it, and it should not have happened. He didn't do it in a bad way where if you were his teammate, you'd be like, whoa, what the heck, man? No, he did it in a way where, okay, you could understand that why he said it. Okay?
Right.
It wasn't a bad thing.
I kind of feel like, though, that was just kind of an easy way for Paul George to kind of weasel his way in there to say, oh, this needs to be, this is my team, I need to go in taking the shots, and it kind of that first strike in the armor to get him out of there, which was when kind of first reports started swirling about him leaving for LA anyways. So, I mean, now just talking about that quote in general, I kind of understood where his point was, but honestly, you don't have the evidence to support that you would have hit in the game-winning shot. So, in my opinion, it's like he just found some little nitpicky thing to just say, okay, this is a reason why I should probably look somewhere else because I'm not looking for the last shot.
Yeah.
Because that didn't happen his entire career that we've seen. So.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think he just said it to voice something that will make everyone go, oh, I understand why he left.
Yeah.
Now, Indiana making this trade, to me, makes sense. They didn't want him going to an Eastern Conference team. Makes sense. You don't want to face him, and they also traded him to a team that, in my opinion, is not going to be in the Western Conference Finals, especially with Chris Paul going to Houston, and the Golden State Warriors still stacked. There's nothing that shows me that the Thunder are going to be competitive in the playoffs. And so when you have that aspect of it, they were like, well, let's send him to a team that he might think looks good, but eventually he's going to look and go, well, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
So now the Thunder making this trade, I completely disagree with. I feel like this was the worst trade that you can make. And hear me out here. It might take just a bit, but there is an end to the story. You had 4 of the top NBA players on your team. You had James Harden, and he left to Houston.
Right.
You had Kevin Durant, who just left last year to Golden State.
Right.
Now you have Russell Westbrook and Paul George. And Paul George has already said, I want to be a Laker.
Right.
So he's going to leave eventually. Even if he signs a 3-year deal with Thunder because he loves the way they're playing so much, he's still going to leave eventually because he grew up watching the Lakers.
Right.
And if you don't understand that he's going to leave at some point, then you obviously don't understand what you grew up watching. Because anyone who had a favorite team would want to go there eventually.
Right.
And then you have Russell Westbrook, where now there are rumors where Russell Westbrook could be leaving as well. So let me give you a hypothetical. What if Paul George hates playing with Russell Westbrook? He hates the Oklahoma City Thunder. He doesn't like the city, doesn't like the team, sees that they're going nowhere. He leaves. If you're a free agent, you've had 3 guys who are in the top 10 NBA players leave Oklahoma City. Why in the world would you go there?
I think that's a very good point. Sam Presti, though, the GM for Thunder now, is doing his best to keep Westbrook. I think he saw the writing on the wall with Harden and KD, even moving Serge Ibaka, which was one of the second bigger moves that was made, because Oklahoma City at one point had Serge Ibaka, KD, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Reggie Jackson on their bench. So they had some really good talent. I think what they're really trying to do is form this team around Westbrook to keep him, to make him the focal point and do all that. I just think I just think, like, for example, James Harden was booted out because of the owner being stingy, not really because the team couldn't win. Because really, James Harden, he just wanted to get paid what he was worth, and he's worth a lot. I mean, look at Houston's just signed him to a $200 million contract. They traded out Serge Ibaka, who is a great rim protector and a good shooter, which in today's NBA you want that in your stretch players. KD more so left because Russell Westbrook was just so selfish. And honestly, KD kind of did it solo this year, and it showed with his balloon stats. So I don't really say it's the organization per se, though. Like, KD and Harden leaving are kind of two different. You're comparing apples to oranges. However, if Westbrook leaves, I just think he's leaving because maybe, like, I don't see him leaving OKC at this exact second because they're trying to do deals to keep him there. It's not like when, you know, they let James Harden go, and now the three Thunder that were there, you know, Ibaka, Westbrook, and KD, they were like, well, now what are we doing? Because that's a big pivotal player. You know, now that KD's gone, they're trying to actively keep this team competitive and keep them in the playoffs. And I think that'll keep Westbrook there, but I just don't see other players gravitating towards Westbrook. Does that make sense? Like,
Okay, sure.
Like Paul George was there because of a trade, not necessarily because he signed there. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't think it's the organization itself. I think it's ran well, and you put good enough players and who want to be there. And I think if you rebuild this, not rebuild it, but make it a little bit more attractive, what you do in the draft is going to be very important, and who you get. And, you know, I would say if you get the feeling that Westbrook isn't going to stay for whatever reason, you just get the feeling that he's going to at least weigh his options and kind of explore. If you really want to roll the dice with that and let him do that, you might want to think about then trading him, which kind of seems like, wow, you would trade your best player? Well, yeah, I mean, why let someone walk away from you when you have nothing in return and nothing coming up through your farm system, or not your farm system, excuse me, through your development league, or if you don't see any really prospects in the draft that you can go for, you might as well trade him to a team that can really use him. And I honestly think that Westbrook would be better as a 2 guard than a 1 guard, and he can still get his 10 assists, but he's more of an attack player. That's just a side story though. But
I understand what you're saying about, you know, if you want to trade them and get some assets back. But then you're going to have an organization that has lost 4 of the top 10 players in the NBA. Mm-hmm. If I'm a free agent, they're not leaving just because, you know, they feel like they can win somewhere else, which obviously that is a big part of it. Mm-hmm. But like you said with the James Harden situation, there was something with the front office that he had an issue with, obviously the owner being cheap. But you have Kevin Durant, where he felt like everyone was looking towards Russell Westbrook, and he was like, well, I'm just going to leave then. Mm-hmm. They don't want to respect me, that's cool. I'm gone. Yeah. And it's not that the fans didn't. The fans loved him, but it's the front office. Then you have, yes, Paul George, he getting traded over there. But then why make the trade? If he's not going to stay, why make the trade? You know, other than, yeah, you're going to get Paul George, but look at how stacked the Golden State. You're not going to beat Golden State.
No, but I think what it does, though, is it, one, makes Westbrook think that, okay, you're really trying, so let's say something happens where you get an increase in salary and then you get more chances to sign bigger players once you see that your players of Westbrook and Paul George together win, then okay, we'll start attracting more players. You know, then I think that's what could happen. But you also have to make sure that you win enough games or have enough success to even want Paul George to re-sign with the Thunder. Yeah, you know, and that's kind of a tough call because again, like what you just said, you've got Golden State in the West, so really, are you playing for second place, or are you trying to win a championship? Because right now, everyone knows like you're playing for second place at this point.
And I think the worst scenario for the Thunder right now is, what if Russell Westbrook and Paul George get along great, but Paul George says, I don't like this organization. I don't kind of like how either the GM or the owner, how he handles things, or even the head coach. Maybe I don't like that. And he gets Russell Westbrook to say, hey man, you should leave with me. Let's go to the Lakers. They're saying that LeBron James, we could play with LeBron James, you and me. Why not? You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not saying that LeBron James is going there. I'm just saying,
I think it's more likely for James to go than it is for Westbrook.
Yeah. But what happens if he convinces him to leave with him? And that is something that if you're a Thunder fan or you're the Oklahoma City Thunder, you have to think of that possibility. What are you going to do without 4 of those guys that you guys have lost over these years? How are you going to rebuild? Because to be honest, for a couple of years, there's going to be a lot of free agents who are like, if they keep leaving, why would I go there and try and, other than they're going to sell you on, well, we want you to be the face of the franchise. That is the only way you're going to get a free agent there now, because you've got 4 guys who left because they didn't want to be there.
Yeah. I mean, it's... Honestly, I don't see OKC, though, going down the toilet like, let's say, the Knicks. Because honestly, like, OKC is, like, such a more bigger dream than the Knicks right now. The Knicks are just such a dumpster fire. It's pathetic right now. Like, your best player wants out and your third-year player wants out in his 3rd year. Like, he shouldn't even be old enough to know what he wants yet, and he wants out. But OKC, I think, even if they do lose Westbrook, which I don't think they are, honestly, I think they will find a way to be okay. They're going to stink for a few years, but I think through the draft or through some sort of crazy trade, or even if it's like a number one, even if it's a player that is the number 1 guy on his previous team, balls out, and he just wants the money, then he'll probably sign with OKC, because honestly they'll have the cap space to do it, obviously with no major assets other than draft picks and whatever. So I think that'll happen, but I honestly don't see Westbrook leaving either. So I think if Westbrook stays, it still makes them attractive. But if Westbrook does leave, I don't think that OKC is like, oh great, we don't have a team.
No, I'm not saying that they're going to be the Knicks. I get what you're saying about that. I'd say that they're going to be, the Sixers for a while. Where they're going to probably try and tank to get some draft picks, to get some talent on their team, because Steven Adams doesn't fit the new NBA, and Enes Kanter had a horrible year, and he actually fits it better than Steven Adams does.
And Robertson can't throw it in the ocean if he was standing on the boat or on the beach. So anyways, we'll see. We got a long season. We never know what'll happen. Paul George, Westbrook could either hit it off or not, and one of 2 things is going to happen. He's either going to stay or he's going to leave. I'm more saying he's going to leave, and I don't see Westbrook leaving, though. I think that he'll accept the $200-something million that he'll get, and he'll just trust the process.
Yeah, I agree with you. I see Westbrook staying. I don't see why he would go. And Paul George leaving at some point. He may not leave this year, but for sure he will leave Oklahoma City at one point in his career.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, thank you for watching and joining us. Please follow us and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Drew Code Sports Talk. That is Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and also YouTube.